All right, guys. So today we're going to talk about one of the saddest of all the gods, Hephaestus. His Roman name is Vulcan. And with him, the way his story gets going, like he becomes the god of the fire and the forge. So he's like the blacksmith of the gods. Really, really famous for that later. But the way his life gets started, it's rough. Okay, so he is either the son of Zeus and Hera, or just Hera. Okay, a lot of stories will say that Hera is like really jealous that Zeus could do the whole like popping Athena out of his head thing. So she wants to have a child all by herself. So she just goes home and pops out Hephaestus because I guess you can just like make that decision. Oh, and by the way, a lot of people really struggle with this guy's name. I've had people give entire presentations where they call him Hepatitis the entire time, which is super embarrassing. So if you are curious how to say his name, and you live in our part of Missouri, just think of like Festus, like Crystal City, okay, and just laugh like, huh, Festus, okay, so Hephaestus, that's how you say his name, okay. Anyway, so when he comes out, either from Zeus and Hera or just Hera, what makes him very different from the other gods is that he's really ugly, okay. And I know it seems so superficial, and it is, but when you think about what the rest of the gods look like, they were like super ripped. They spend all their time in the Olympian gym. They're like gorgeous model looking people, but he comes out and he's just not attractive, apparently. I don't think he looks that bad in the pictures, but, to each his own. And so they're so appalled that he is so horrendous that they kick him off of Mount Olympus. So Zeus and Hera together, regardless of who it is that is the parents, okay? And I don't mean they kick him off the mountain as in, like, you can't live here anymore, but they literally take the baby and punt him off of the mountain. I know you couldn't see my leg, but I'm kicking, okay? So they kick him off of the mountain. Now, he's a god, so he doesn't die, but going off of Mount Olympus is still a big deal, and so it makes him lame. So he actually has to walk with like a cane or some kind of assistance for the rest of his life, which also makes him very different from the rest of God. So in fact, as a baby, he like crawls his way to a volcano where he's found by the Cyclopses, who take him because they don't judge. Okay, Cyclopses are very accepting people. They take him in, they raise him as their one of their own, and like that's where he learns to be a blacksmith and everything. Super sad life. Like, you probably have had bad things happen in your life, but if your parents have not punted you off of a mountain, at least consider yourself more fortunate than Hephaestus, okay? So anyway, he ends up becoming this like really, really good blacksmith, and you would think he'd be so bitter, but he's not. Okay, he's not bitter, and he becomes like very, very popular, very well liked. Which is why when Athena, or when Aphrodite rather, comes out of the foam of the sea and everybody's fighting over him, Zeus is like, no, 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 we've got to give him to Hephaestus. Why? Because he feels terrible about kicking this guy off of a mountain. Okay, and so he gives Hephaestus to her, thinking this is going to make everything right. But does it? No, because immediately she rejects him and goes and has an affair with Ares in front of everybody. Okay, like everybody knows that this is happening. So his life is literally like a series of rejection after rejection. People who should love him choose not to. Okay, he even eventually falls for Athena, thinking she is a goddess of love or a goddess of wisdom, so she is going to look past my appearance. But I already told you, Athena is one of the three virgin goddesses. She never gets married, never has any kids. She also rejects him. Okay, and so again and again and again he gets rejected. And in fact, probably like one of the highlights of his life is that he gets to eventually make armor for Achilles, and he's like the most famous armor maker in all of mythology. He gets to make armor for the most famous warrior in all mythology, and Achilles dies in it. Okay, Achilles, who only had one vulnerability, by the way, right? Because Achilles was dipped in the river Styx, and if you're released, like if your entire body goes into the river Styx, you go straight to the underworld, like you're dead. But his mom holds his heel so that that's the only part that doesn't go in because it's covered by her fingers, and so because of that, he's invincible in all parts of his body except for his heel, right? And so he makes him armor but doesn't cover the one part of his body that is his vulnerability, and he gets like just a random arrow is shot and kills him. And so even that moment, it's not a highlight for Hephaestus. So his life, super sad. Okay, so that's Hephaestus for you. I mean, I don't think he looks. I don't know if this is loading for you. There, no, that's Hermes. Sorry, I skipped. There's Hephaestus. I don't think he looks that bad. It's just, I don't know. He's got a cool beard. The other one I'll tell you real quick, because I know this video is probably going to run out, is Hestia. Now, Hestia is a super big part of their religion because she is the goddess of the home and hearth, which means they sacrifice part of their meal to her every single day. She's like their fireplace. But to be part of a mythology, you have to have a story, and she really doesn't have any stories. Okay, so she was the first of the babies who was swallowed, so she was the oldest who becomes the youngest, last one vomited up. And we know that she was the last of the three virgin goddesses. That's all we know about her, other than the fact that Poseidon and Apollo both pursued her and she rejected her.